A century, the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture, located in central Harlem in New York City, has played a pivotal role in showcasing, preserving, and making accessible to the general public many monumental and historical works throughout the African diaspora. The man responsible for continuing that tradition is entering his third year as director of the center. Khalil Gibran Muhammad is joining us today, and welcome back to the show. It's always so good to see you.
Thank you, Debbie, for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you. Now, the Schomburg Center it's 9 decades old. It's one of the leading repositories of this kind of information in the world. Give us an idea of the information and the artifacts and documents that are housed there.
So we span every conceivable form of material that documents the presence of Black people anywhere in the world. The most obvious is that we're a library, so we have a collection of about 400,000 books, the oldest of which is from the 16th century. But we also have a terrific art collection capturing the visual arts of the Harlem Renaissance forward. Arturo Schomburg, the founder of the center, believed that art itself was an expression of Black people's humanity. So he collected at an early age and showcased that art in the original library back in the 1920s. We also have a terrific manuscript collection, and by that I mean correspondence, diary entries. For example, the diaries of Malcolm X as he traveled the globe in Cairo, in various parts of Africa in 1964. His original journal entries in his own diary are part of our collection, and that's just the beginning. So many others are captured there in the manuscript division, as well as our photo and prints collection. We have about 400,000 photographic images, beginning with the earliest forms of photography in the 1850s, capturing the lives of antebellum Blacks right here in New York City in the first form of photography called daguerreotypes, all the way up to the Civil Rights Movement and beyond, capturing Billie Holiday, to the Harlem Wrens basketball team. So there's no limit to really what you can find at the Schomburg Center.
It sounds almost overwhelming and certainly a researcher's dream, but is it accessible to the regular person? Tell me about the exhibits that are there and how people can just go and casually, if you will, enjoy what you have.
That's a great way of putting it, because in some ways, because we are a research library, the scholars know our treasures and they come and they find them. But for everyday people, it's not so obvious. So in that way, we do mount exhibitions, usually 4 to 6 a year. They are open to the public, just as are our collections, usually 10 to 6 from Monday through Saturday. And currently we have 2 exhibitions, one called Africans in India, which captures the experiences of East Africans over 500 years, the Sidi and Habish, who essentially came as slaves into the subcontinent and became generals and rulers, building temples and other monuments to capture the history of that subcontinent. But it's a really untold and forgotten story. Our other current exhibition is one on Lois Mailou Jones. She was a visual artist who lived almost 9 decades from 1907 to 1993. She spent 47 years producing art at Howard University. She's one of the most prolific and celebrated Black women as a painter of the 20th century. Our shows also have included a celebration of the 150th of the Emancipation Proclamation, capturing the images of Black people as they strode from slavery to freedom and documenting their own humanity in portraiture and other aspects of institutional life. We have a picture, for example, of one of the first graduating classes at Howard University. We have George Washington Carver in his lab producing God knows what, peanut butter to oil,
something
salt,
with a peanut.
Exactly.
Wow, that's amazing. So you've been with the center since 2010, so going on your third year. Tell me what the burden is, if you will, or the challenge is for you to take this repository of such rich treasures from the past and keep it relevant in the present and into the future, particularly as it relates to technology as it advances?
It's a great question. So one challenge is that young people are less inclined to seek information in a physical place. They go online. So one of the challenges that I see is convincing young people, that is anyone from 5 years old, in my opinion, to 45 years old, that an institution like the Schomburg Center still matters. One, it's because we're a long way from being able to digitize digitize all that we have. So everything I've described to you, most of it is still in tactile form, still pieces of paper or photographs. It's extremely expensive to digitize. So if they really want to celebrate this history, if they want to learn it, if they want to be inspired by it, they still have to come there to actually physically engage it. But more importantly, I think the importance of history to not just knowing the past, but being able to navigate the future is a lesson that needs to be retaught in our contemporary moment. There's so much information buzzing around the heads of young people, and it's not clear how to weigh the relative strengths of this store of knowledge that's the past versus the latest blog post.
Right.
And so I see the Schomburg's challenge as reaching out to this younger generation, these two cohorts born after the Civil Rights Movement, and making a case for why something like the Schomburg Center matters, both in terms of a digital future and in terms of that old analog past.
Do you have an outreach program specifically to young people?
We absolutely do. It's called Junior Scholars. It's a Saturday program. It brings young people up to 125 every single Saturday from October to May. They spend 5 hours there from 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock. We just finished up a fabulous year with them, and it's a way to immerse them fully into the life and the culture of the institution and to teach them ways of expression, from dance to spoken word to digital videography, so on and so forth. We also do a number of educational programs throughout the year celebrating Langston Hughes' birthday. He's a very important part of our legacy. His cremains are in the floor of the Schomburg Center.
Wow. Okay.
So if you come to the Schomburg Center, you actually get to spend a little time with Langston Hughes.
I'm so glad to hear that you're saying that, as much as I love my Kindle and my iPad, there's nothing like physically turning the pages of a book. Very quickly, tell us what's coming up this summer for you.
So much. So some of the most exciting things include the Harlem Book Fair, which is an annual event in Harlem on July 20th. We have a number of amazing authors who will be there. I'll just mention two. Barbara Ransby and Mary Frances Berry both have written, Barbara Ransby has written a new book on Eslanda Good, the wife of Paul Robeson, someone whose life and legacy is not so well known, but who sat there in the midst of the great events of the 20th century. And Jean Theo Harris wrote a book about the life and times of Rosa Parks, a definitive biography. Other events include our Hip Hop 4.0 initiative, and there we have a breaking convention with sponsorship with the Apollo. So much more in store at the Schomburg Center, ongoing this summer and into the fall.
Oh, it all sounds great. Well, thank you so much for coming on to tell us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Muhammad, it's
I appreciate
great to
it.
see you. And this is Arise America.